All right. So you have your book, right? You checked out a book. Now what? So here's what I want you to do. I want you to read 20 pages from that book. Well, the question is then, which 20 pages should you read? I want you to read the 20 pages that most closely relates to your artwork. But so if your artwork is in the book, that's wonderful. Read the 20 pages around or up to that artwork. If your artwork is not in the book, try to find the part of the book that's closest to your chosen artwork. While you are reading, I want you to take notes on things that you find are interesting, things that you learn, and things that you think are important. And so I have some tips on taking notes from the book and the article. All right. So one thing I want you to do as you read and take notes, I want you to write the page numbers that you find the note from. So if you find a piece of information that you think is interesting or important, or that you just learned or you thought that was cool, then write that page number because we're going to use that later on. Then what I want you to do is to create a document and write what you learned. So tell me what you found interesting. Tell me what you learned. Tell me what you thought was important, and prove to me that you read the material. This is going to be a one-page document. Here's an example of that, and this is the example that you'll see in D2L. A couple things I want to point out. Up in the top of the header, you're going to replace my name with your last name only. And then the pages are already numbered. So I'm going to give you a template. It's already set up for you to use. If you're going to create your own, then you need to make a header with pages that are numbered up in the header, not in the text of this. The title of this assignment is going to be the title of your book, whatever the title is. And then like the first thing I want you to write is, I read from page blankety blank to bloobity blue. And then tell me what you learned. So tell me what the author wrote in those 20 pages. All right, so we're going to do footnotes in this class. So you're going to use footnotes anytime you use a piece of information that you did not discover. If you got your piece of information from somebody else's writing, you need to give them credit for that. So you're going to have a minimum of 3 footnotes for this assignment, and you're going to put them down here. There we go. So your first footnote will be pretty much the whole citation. And then the second note will be the last name of the artist, or the author, the title, a quick title of the book. All right. I shortened it. And then the page number that it came from. And then it'll be cited up here. I will provide you videos on how to do footnotes. So I'll give you, if you're working with a Word document, there's a YouTube video for how to do footnotes for Word. If you're doing a Google Docs, there's a video for how to do that. And I have those provided for you. They'll also be provided in D2L. The bibliography page comes after your text. It's going to be your one book is going to be on a page by itself. And this is in Chicago citation style. And every entry in the bibliography, the first line is not indented. And then it's going to be, single spaced. And then the single line will be indented. This takes some trickery to get to this to work because your computer wants to do it the other way around. But this is Chicago style. All right, and that's the style that we're using. I think in your English class, it's MLA. All right, so with anything history related courses, they use Chicago style. Like I said, the bibliography gets its own page. The title is centered, and every entry is single spaced. When we get into having multiple entries, then you're going to have a double space between entries. All right, the style of this is going to look formal, but it's going to sound casual. So look at this guy. He's all business up top, but down below, he's ready for the beach. Oh, he's ready to relax. So that's what ours is going to look formal. It's going to have a header and footnotes, and it's going to follow formatting. But when I read through it, it should sound like your voice. And in this class, I am shortening the assignments. So I just want you to get to the meat of the subject. Just tell me what you read in those 20 pages. I don't want to read a overall introduction. I don't want to read a conclusion. I've shortened the assignment to 1 page. Cram it all into that 1 page. And it should be a full page, not a half page. All right. Watch.
Yo, what it do? This week on Third Notes, we're getting love from Romeo and Juliet by William Shakespeare. Up in the swanky part of Verona, 2 families called the Montagues and the Capulets been beefing since forever. After dodging all out war in the streets, Big Daddy Montague and his boo Lady Montague start talking about their emo son Romeo, who got it bad for some fox Rosaline. But Rosaline ain't feeling it. And now Romeo moping around like he done lost his nuts. So Romeo's homeos, Benvolio and Mercutio, try to get his mind off that trick by crashing a party over at the Capulet's crib. But as soon as Romeo peeps the most tappable ass of Juliet Capulet, he forgets all about that Rosaline mess and steps up to holler like a chair. Romeo loves himself some fast women, so he drops his A game, gets a little lip action, and snags those digits. Get it, Romeo. Then Romeo creeps up to Juliet's balcony. Turns out, she batshit crazy in love with him too. But since their families got so much beef, they gotta keep it all on the DL. Next day, Romeo and Juliet run off to local preacher man Friar Lawrence's spot and get hitched. Later, Benvolio and Mercutio taking it easy when Tybalt, the baddest mofo of all the Capulets, steps up and starts talking shit. Mercutio boot up and starts scrapping with Tybalt, till Romeo busts in and tries to break it up. But Romeo just gets in the way, and Tybalt shakes Mercutio. Damn. Romeo goes from whiny bitch to the hardest thug in the streets and straight murks Tybalt. The Prince of Verona had it with all this gang violence, so he boots Romeo right out of town. When Juliet's mama says she gotta marry some candy-ass scrub named Paris, Juliet gets all torn up and hits up Friar Lawrence for some help. Friar Daddy comes up with a plan to fake Juliet's death by giving her some juice that makes her take a long-ass nap. Then he's gonna write Romeo a letter saying all he has to do is play it cool, and once Juliet wakes up, Romeo will have a lifetime supply of poontang. Problem is, the letter never makes it to Romeo. So when he hears Juliet bit the dust, he thinks this shit's for real. Romeo straight flips. So he rolls up to Juliet's crib, peeps her laying still, and throws back some poison. When Juliet wakes up and sees his dead body, she gets all crunk, grabs a knife, and kills herself. Teenagers, man, damn. Keep this motif, blood. Willie Shakes flipping opposites all up in his play. Love, hate, youth, age, life, death. I ain't even tripping. Even characters got opposites. For example, while Benvolio be all chill and peace-loving, Tybalt always coming out hard, trying to throw down. Shit, you can even peep these paradoxes in the text, B. My only love sprung from my only hate. My grave is like to be my wedding bed. But Willie ain't just playing. All these clashing opposites making that dramatic action more intense. Listen up, partner. The full title of this play is The Most Excellent and Lamentable Tragedy of Romeo and Juliet. Except, is it really a tragedy? Some homies don't think so. See, in most tragedies, the characters got something in their dome that's so f***ed up that no matter what, they're going to end up feeling the hurt. Peeps call this the tragic flaw. Thing is, some thugs say Romeo and Juliet ain't rolling with no tragic flaws. It ain't their fault that shit gets so right. But what is tragic is that something else is tripping up their game. Chance. All throughout this play, they doing our lovers straight dirty. Just look at all these ridiculous coincidences. That letter don't find Romeo, the friar too late in stopping him, Juliet wakes up right after Romeo bit the big one. I can go on playing. So when the prologue saying that these kids be star-crossed, maybe it's because the heavens got it in for these fools. But maybe it ain't fate so much as it is kids acting like stupid little shits. Some say Romeo and Juliet's tragic flaw being love all insane in the membrane. And they willing to do anything to keep it real. Even Friar Lawrence say that's been a sin. These violent delights have violent ends. And in their triumph die like fire and powder, which as they kiss consume. The sweetest honey is loathsome in its own deliciousness, and that the taste confounds the appetite. Therefore, love moderately. Love doth so. Too swift arrives as tardy as too slow. Could be they ain't sinning at all, but that the world that they live in is just too twisted to deal with a love as pure as theirs. Maybe it ain't our lovers that got the flaws, son. Maybe it's the world. But all scholars agree it would be a damn tragedy if you didn't subscribe. Peace, y'all.
That's the first time I ever seen this.
Okay, all right. The reason why I showed you this, shh, quiet please. The reason why I showed you this, is he in a formal setting?
Yes.
Yes. Is the structure of this video a formal structure?
No.
It was a,
Oh,
he did the synopsis first, and then he analyzed, and then you heard the classical music in the background. It's a formal structure. Now, are his words formal? No, all right, very unformal, all right, or informal. So what I want is for you guys, we're going to have a very formal looking document. But when I read your writing, I should hear your voice. I don't want it to sound like Wikipedia. I don't want it to sound like AI. I don't want it to sound like a textbook. I want it to sound like you. All right, so you can put yourself into this. So basically on this, tell me what you learned. All right, and you can use I statements in this. All right, does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right, so that's the point of showing you Thug Notes. I'm giving you the instructions in this video, but also there are written instructions in D2L. I recommend that you read because there are some things in the written instructions that I may have missed in making this video. And there's also an example in this. So what you are going to do is you are going to write one page. This is your one written page. It's going to have a second page that has the bibliography. And then you're going to take photographs of your notes and attach that and put it all in one big PDF document. All right, and follow all the formatting that's in there, the headers, the footnotes. And I'm giving you a template in this in D2L. So all you have to do is just change the words. You don't have to create your own document. I'm giving it to you. Also, when you submit this, you are going to record a video of what is in the document, right? So you just wrote it. It should be fresh in your mind. So tell me in the video what you wrote. I'm only going to briefly skim it when you turn it in, but I'm going to deeply read it when I grade the final product. And so if I read it and it sounds like AI or it sounds like plagiarism, I'm going to go back and watch the video and see if you know what you're talking about. It's just a check for me. And it's a way to prove that you know the material. Like the guy in the video, he knew the material. The length of this video can be totally up to you. It can be less than a minute. This girl went way over the top, at almost 9 minutes. But, it's totally up to you. All right. It's however long it takes for you to explain what you just wrote. You are not allowed to look at any notes during this video. It has to be 100% from your brain. And if you submit the document without the video, I'm just not going to grade the video. I'm going to, do an 11.11, and I'm not going to look at it until you submit the video that goes along with it. Okay, so grading. When you turn it in and you turn it in on time, and there's no mistakes, I'm going to give it 100. And at this point, like I said before, I'm only skimming through your writing. I'm not reading it deeply. I will read it deeply when you have turned in this assignment in with your final product. That's when I'm going to read it deeply. So any mistakes, any grammatical errors or mistakes, that I don't catch the first time, I will definitely catch it when I grade the final product. All right. So just because you got 100 on this when you turn it in doesn't mean that it's perfect and there won't be mistakes on it when I grade it in the final product. Does that make sense to everybody? All right. Basically, these previews is I'm just getting you to turn the beast in parts on time. That's basically it. The other basic thing is I'm going to be grading most for formatting. So when everything is formatted correctly, it makes it easy for me to read at the end. So I'm going to make all these corrections. In fact, if you turn it down on time and it has mistakes, I'm going to make corrections and I'm going to give you a 50. And if you show me that you saw the corrections, I will change that 50 to 100. So show me evidence that you looked at my corrections. So that could be a screenshot of my corrections posted back in the assignment. That could be a selfie with you and the corrections on the screen. It could be a thumbs up with the corrections on the screen. It could be something else. You can be creative. It doesn't have to be these three things. If you turn it in late, it gets a 0.01, right? The reason why I do that is so that if you're turning things in late and then I go back in later and I can see that you are still turning things in. It shows that you are still trying. It's not like you're not turning. It's the difference between turning something in late and not turning in anything at all. So it shows to me that you're trying and that if you need help later on, I can look and say, oh, this is a student that's trying. I'm more willing to help a student that's trying than a student that has a bunch of zeros because they've just never turned anything in. Does that make sense? Also, turning things in late, I will still show you the corrections so you can make those corrections so that when you turn it in on the final product, you will have corrected those things and have a higher score. So that's the benefit of turning something in late, even though you don't get the grade. And don't turn things in, you get a 0, just a flat 0, and that shows me that you're not trying. So what do you mean by late? With everything on the beast, you have a 23-hour buffer zone. So it's due at 11:59 on a Friday, and so you have 23 hours to get that turned in to get full credit. All right, so if it's 1 hour late, there's even one that says less than an hour late, and then there's some that say 23 hours late or anything in between. I will still take it and give you full credit. As soon as it goes from 23 hours to 1 day, it's late. All right, you may get an 11:11, and that means see me. All right, there's something really wrong that you just need to, maybe you didn't understand the assignment. Maybe I didn't give the right instruction or something. There was some kind of disconnect somewhere. And so I just need you to come and talk to me. I'll explain what it is, and then you can redo it and turn it in for 100. You might see a 12.12 or a 13.13. 12.12, that's the second time that you've turned it in and there's something still wrong. 13.13 is the third time you turned it in and something's really wrong. And that'll be it for today. All right, are there any questions about this assignment?